Scuole chiuse, linee ferroviarie interrotte, la Francia affronta l'emergenza canicola, Meteologo, la giornata più calda dai tempi del Re Sole. Benvenuti al notiziario di Francia 24, Francia oggi, in Radio Unita centrale Milano per lunedì 22 giugno. Anche in onde medie sui 1575 km in redazione Marco Copersotti da Parigi Re Sole Costa. E lunedì pomeriggio le temperature previste potrebbero raggiungere i 43 gradi a Bordeaux, 41 a Limoges, 40 a Tours, a Tolosa e 39 a Bourges. Meteo Francia ha dichiarato per la seconda giornata consecutiva una situazione d'allerta rossa in 49 dipartimenti con circa 35 milioni di abitanti sotto avviso per la canicola. I valori più elevati, fino a 43 gradi, interesseranno la fascia occidentale. Su franciaoggi.com potete trovare un elenco di tutte le città, per la più parte poco conosciute per la verità, con queste temperature elevate. Il Ministro dell'Educazione ha disposto la chiusura di 845 scuole e college per la giornata, con un'accoglienza minima o nulla, mentre circa 1800 strutture hanno anticipato il termine delle lezioni a fine pomeriggio. La SNCF, attraverso il suo presidente, ha invitato le persone più vulnerabili a rimandare i viaggi in treno o evitarli del tutto, anche perché, e l'abbiamo riportato più volte in questi giorni, le linee sono comunque interrotte, quindi è il caso che rinuncino. I turisti sono invitati a utilizzare gli spruzzatori d'acqua installati in numerose città, come quelle presenti a Parigi, per mitigare i rischi di colpi di calore. Questa mattina abbiamo sentito su France Info l'affermazione più sorprendente, ve la diciamo pari pari: il giorno più caldo dai tempi di Luigi XIV o 14 in Francia. E questa è esattamente la frase che abbiamo ascoltato questa mattina attorno alle 5 su France Info. Senza mezzi termini, il meteorologo ha affermato che la giornata di oggi sarà la più calda dei tempi del Re Sole, Luigi XIV, perché senza dubbio ai tempi le misure di temperatura erano puntuali ed esatte. Sentiamo in merito cosa deve raccontarci Rachel.
Editoriale di Rachel. Caldo da record o la siesta obbligatoria di Stato. Eccoci qui, sotto un sole che sembra aver dichiarato guerra aperta alla Francia intera. Lunedì 22 giugno 2026, 845 scuole e collegi chiusi per intero. Altri 1% chiudono bottega nel primo pomeriggio. Il ministro dell'istruzione parla di vigilanza rossa e di sicurezza prima di tutto. In effetti, con questo caldo da Re Sole viene quasi da applaudire la prudenza. Quasi. La nostra postazione ad Arenas, però, l'atmosfera è più surreale che drammatica. Il termometro sale, le menti fondono, ma la macchina amministrativa francese risponde con la consueta eleganza a metà istituti. I gelati, altra metà con orario ridotto. Un compromesso all'italiana, ma con timbri e circolari in triplice copia. Continuità del servizio pubblico resta sacra, purché non si sciolgano gli alunni sui banchi. E poi arriva la perla. La giornata più calda dai tempi di Luigi XIV, roba da far impallidire i meteorologi di corte del Re Sole, che probabilmente misuravano la temperatura con un servo che infilava il gomito nel fossato di Versailles. Sa se anche allora c'erano bollettini ufficiali che gonfiavano il dato per giustificare una giornata di bagardi affronta, o forse solo che ogni ondata di calore deve essere eccezionale, storica, mai vista. Altrimenti come si giustifica la chiusura di migliaia di classi? Nel frattempo, noi comuni mortali continuiamo a lavorare, a spostarci, a bere acqua come cammelli disidratati. Perché il caldo, si sa, è uguale per tutti. Tranne quando si tratta di decidere se un bambino può sopportare un pomeriggio di lezione o se è meglio mandarlo a casa prima che si trasformi in un piccolo crisantemo. Forse è proprio questa la magia del sistema francese, trasformare un problema meteorologico in una dimostrazione di premura istituzionale. Il termometro sale, la burocrazia si attiva. E noi restiamo qui a chiederci se domani, con 40 gradi all'ombra, chiuderanno anche i ministeri. O se il record di Luigi XIV verrà battuto con tanto di fanfara e comunicato stampa. Con del giorno. Un monaco chiese a Sauso: Maestro, con questo caldo infernale, è meglio chiudere la scuola o continuare a insegnare? Rispose Zhao Zhu: chiudi la porta. Il monaco insistette: ma ora gli alunni non impareranno niente oggi. Disse Zhao Zhu: hanno già imparato che il fuoco brucia e che l'acqua rinfresca. Il resto può aspettare che il cielo si calmi. Un altro monaco chiese: Maestro, il Re Sole ha mai sofferto un caldo simile? Rispose Zhao Zhu: Re Sole Parigi aveva 24 milioni di sudditi e un solo sole. Oggi abbiamo un solo sole e 24 milioni di termometri. Chi sta davvero sudando di più? Welcome to the bulletin of Radio Nice and Central Milan for Monday, June 22nd, 2026 on France Today. Come in podcasting, via AI chatbot, and on medium waves at 1575 kHz. In the newsroom in Nice, Marco Hugo Barsotti. From Paris, it's Rachel Costa. Schools closed and railway lines disrupted. France faces the heat wave emergency. Meteorologist. The hottest day since the Sun King. The United States and Iran agree on a roadmap for a definitive agreement. Weather Paris and Milan. News from France. Heat wave in France. 27 degrees Celsius in Bordeaux, 28 degrees Celsius in Biarritz, 49 departments on red alert. Monday afternoon temperatures could reach 43 degrees Celsius in Bordeaux, 41 degrees Celsius in Limoges, 40 degrees Celsius in Tours and Toulouse, and 39 degrees Celsius in Bourges and Paris. Meteo France has declared for the second consecutive day a red alert situation in 49 departments, with about 35 million inhabitants under heat wave warning. The highest values, up to 43 degrees Celsius, will affect the western band that stretches from Hendaye to Rennes, while the rest of the mainland territory expects highs between 36 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon of Sunday, 21st of June, the observation network recorded 49 degrees Celsius in La Couronne, 6 degrees Celsius both in Saint-Thys and Pauillac, 39. 2 degrees Celsius in Poitiers and 38. 6 degrees Celsius in Avord. Other exceptional values include 42. 2 degrees Celsius in Pissos, 42 degrees Celsius in Châteaubriant, and 41. 5 degrees Celsius in Montmorillon, Belly, and Navarrenx. Several temperature records are expected to be broken before temperatures start to fall toward the end of the week. The Ministry of Education ordered the closure of 845 schools and colleges for the day, with minimal or no reception, while about 1,800 other facilities moved the end of lessons to early afternoon. SNCF, through its president, urged the most vulnerable people to postpone train travel or avoid it altogether, while still guaranteeing service continuity for all other users. Residents and tourists were invited to use the water sprinklers installed in numerous cities, such as those in Paris, to mitigate heat stroke risks. Authorities also activated a health emergency plan to assist people most exposed to the high temperatures. Context note: the June 2026 heat wave is one of the most intense recorded in France in recent decades, with record temperatures affecting most of the national territory. Fact check by Gemma 4. Because of the heat wave, 845 schools and colleges will close on Monday, 1,800 others will adjust schedules. Monday, 20th of June 2026. 845 French schools and colleges will remain closed because of the exceptional heat wave, announced Education Minister Edouard Gaffray. Out of roughly 60,000 institutions, the total closure will mainly affect facilities located in red alert departments. In about 1,800 additional schools and colleges, schedules will be modified. Lessons will end in early afternoon to allow pupils to return home sooner. Gaffray clarified that the decision was taken territorially, because conditions vary from area to area. Continuity of public service is the basic principle. However, if the safety of staff or pupils is at risk, closure is inevitable, he said. At the same time, the France region earmarked an extraordinary aid of €1 million for the 500 examination centers in the region, intended for the purchase of misting devices, fans, and other cooling equipment for school environments. The hottest day since the time of Louis XIV in France. This is the sentence we heard this morning around 5 a.m. On France Info. Without mincing words, the meteorologist said that today will be the hottest day since the Sun King, Louis XIV, or 14, as they say in France, because surely back then temperature measurements were punctual and exact. Let's hear what Rachel has to tell us about it. Fact check by Gemma 4. Good morning from Paris. I am Rachel Costa. I'll read you my editorial for today. Rachel's editorial: record heat or the state-mandated siesta. Here we are, under a sun that seems to have declared open war on all of France. Monday, 20th of June, 2026. 845 schools and colleges closed entirely. Another 1,800 shutting down in the early afternoon. The education minister talks about red vigilance and toy safety first. And indeed, with this Sun King heat, it's almost applause-worthy prudence. Almost. From our station in Arenas, however, the atmosphere is more surreal than dramatic. The thermometer climbs, minds melt, but the French administrative machine responds with its usual elegance. Half the institution sealed, the other half with reduced hours. An Italian-style compromise, but with stamps and circulars in triplicate. Continuity of public service remains sacred, provided pupils don't melt on the benches. And then comes the pearl. The hottest day since the time of Louis XIV. Stuff that would make the Sun King's court meteorologists pale, who probably measured temperature with a servant who stuck his elbow into the Versailles moat. Who knows if back then there were official bulletins that inflated the figure to justify a day of revelry at Fontainebleau, or maybe every heat wave simply has to be exceptional, so historic, never seen before. Otherwise, how do you justify closing thousands of classes? In the meantime, we mere mortals keep working, moving, drinking water like dehydrated camels. Because heat, as we know, is the same for everyone, except when it comes to deciding whether a child can endure an afternoon lesson or should be sent home before turning into a tiny croissant. Perhaps that's the magic of the French system, turning a weather problem into a display of institutional care. The thermometer rises, bureaucracy activates, and we stay here wondering if tomorrow, with 40 degrees in the shade, ministries will close too, or if Louis XIV's record will be broken with fanfare and a press release. Con of the day. A monk asked Zhao, "Master, with this infernal heat, is it better to close the school or keep teaching?" Zhao replied, "Close the door." The monk persisted. "But then the pupils won't learn anything today?" Zhao said, "They have already learned that fire burns and water cools. The rest can wait until the sky calms." Another monk asked, "Master, has the Sun King ever suffered such heat?" Zhao replied, "Louis XIV had 24 million subjects and a single sun. Today we have a single sun and 24 million thermometers. Who is really sweating more?" But let's get back to the news. Egypt overturns New Zealand. Cape Verde surprises Uruguay. What to remember from the World Cup night matches. During the night of Sunday 21 to Monday 20th of June 2026, African teams wrote unexpected pages in the group stage of the World Cup. In a match played in Vancouver, the Egyptians, trailing by 1 goal for most of the game, turned the result around in the dying minutes, imposing a 3-1 victory over New Zealand. With this win, the team led by Mohamed Salah achieved its first triumph in the tournament's history, snatching an unexpected joyous ending for its hopes. In the same round, Cape Verde continued to astonish. After a goalless draw against Spain, the Cape Verdean side faced Uruguay with great courage, managing a 2-2 draw that left both groups awaiting further twists. The result shows how smaller nations can challenge traditional favorites, delivering a night of football rich in suspense and surprises. Summary of the night matches of 21-2022 to June 2026 during the World Cup 2026 group stage. Fact check by Gemma 4. Welcome to the International Bulletin from Radio Nice and Central Milan for Monday 20th June 2026 on France Today. Common podcasting and on medium waves at 1575 kHz. From Paris, it's Rachel Costa. USA and Iran define a roadmap for a ceasefire and troop withdrawal from Lebanon. American and Iranian authorities have agreed, during a secret meeting in Geneva, on a series of steps to reach a definitive agreement. Negotiators set a 60-day timetable for opening the Strait of Hormuz, with a promise to lift military restrictions in the area. The agreement should also provide for the complete withdrawal of U.S. forces from Lebanon by the end of next month. Lebanese authorities received the news cautiously, demanding guarantees of respect for national sovereignty. International analysts assess a positive impact on the oil market. forecasting an immediate rise in tanker traffic through the strait. Some experts, however, fear the ceasefire's fragility could re-emerge if parties miss the agreed deadlines. The United States and Iran agree on a roadmap for a definitive agreement. During a meeting in Geneva, U.S. and Iranian representatives outlined a joint path to resolve the Hormuz Strait crisis and to start the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Lebanon. The preliminary document foresees a series of joint verifications on navigation limits and the adoption of satellite monitoring mechanisms. Maritime transport companies have already shown signs of recovery. Tanker traffic volume has increased compared with the previous week, driven by anticipation of a positive market response. Financial operators reported a moderate fluctuation in oil prices, with a slight reduction in the risk premium linked to Middle East tensions. The war in Ukraine shows GPS signal vulnerability. A French startup develops a wearable sensor. A small company based in Vernon, Normandy, has launched a wrist-worn device capable of locating soldiers and civilians in real time without relying on satellites. The sensor combines advanced radio frequency technology with artificial intelligence algorithms to track movements in war environments where GPS signals are easily disrupted. Ukrainian forces have begun testing the prototype during eastern border defense operations, reporting improved ability to coordinate teams in areas plagued by electronic interference. Defense experts predict the product could also be used in rescue missions and environmental monitoring operations, where GPS independence is crucial. China imposes trade restrictions on dozens of U.S. firms in response to Pentagon measure. The Chinese government announced a new list of U.S. companies subject to export controls, including aerospace component manufacturers, semiconductor suppliers, and defense sector firms. The measure was described in Beijing as a proportional response to the Pentagon's decision to place certain Chinese firms on the military entity list. The restrictions have already affected stock markets, with several American tech stocks experiencing a brief dip before stabilizing. International analysts fear trade tensions could evolve into a broader conflict, with repercussions for the global electronics supply chain. A missile startup founded by ex-SpaceX staff targets a $12 billion valuation. A group of former SpaceX engineers has launched a new venture dedicated to developing low-emission hypersonic missiles. The company, based in California, has already closed a $200 million funding round led by venture capital funds focused on advanced defense technologies. The business model foresees selling rapid launch systems to governments and large energy companies, aiming to cut response times to emerging threats. Market observers assess that if the startup maintains its innovation pace, its valuation could easily surpass $12 billion within the next 2 years. Meteo Paris, Monaco, Monte Carlo, and Milan for Monday 23rd of June 2026. Paris, scorching day with dominant sun. Morning in Paris is clear, with temperatures around 26 degrees Celsius and a light humidity that makes it feel like 29 degrees Celsius. The wind is moderate, blowing from the northeast at 25 kilometers. In the afternoon, the thermometer climbs rapidly to 39 degrees Celsius. The sun beats strongly and the northeast wind increases to 30 kilometers, with no rain in sight. Late afternoon sees a slight drop to 34 degrees Celsius. The sky remains mostly clear, and the wind from the northeast rises to 35 kilometers. Still dry. During the night, the temperature steadies at 28 degrees Celsius, with lighter northeast breezes at 30 kilometers h and a clear sky. The day's minimum is 26 degrees Celsius, the maximum 39 degrees Celsius, and no precipitation is expected. According to expert Regis Crepet, the situation is characterized by a strong heat wave and an almost total lack of clouds. Monaco, Monte Carlo, moderate heat with light sea breezes. At sunrise in Monaco, the sky is mostly clear and temperature around 29 degrees Celsius, feeling like 31 degrees Celsius because of humidity. The wind is almost absent, with gusts of 10 kilometers h from a calm direction. In the afternoon, temperature rises to 32 degrees Celsius. The sun becomes more intense, and the wind picks up to 40 kilometers h from the west, with a modest rain risk of 20%. In the evening, the air cools again to 29 degrees Celsius. The sky veils slightly, and the wind eases to 25 kilometers h, with no rain in sight. Night is cool at 27 degrees Celsius. Gentle wind at 15 kilometers h, and complete atmospheric balance. The day's minimum is 27 degrees Celsius. the maximum 32 degrees Celsius, and the probability of rain remains low, limited to the afternoon. The sea breeze slightly mitigates the heat, but high pressure keeps the air stable. Milan, intense heat wave with clear weather. Morning in Milan opens with clear skies, temperatures around 28 degrees Celsius, and light north-northeast wind at 6 kilometers h, with no rain. During the afternoon, the thermometer reaches 37 degrees Celsius, the sun is scorching, and the wind shifts to south-south-sea. Still light at 5 kilometers h, with a heat alert in force. Late afternoon sees a small dip to 36 degrees Celsius, scattered clouds but no precipitation, and the wind remains light from the south-southeast. Evening temperature drops to 34 degrees Celsius, the sky stays mostly clear and the wind eases further, still from the south-southeast. Night ends with 33 degrees Celsius, almost tropical. Calm wind at 15 kilometers h and no rain risk. The day's minimum is 27 degrees Celsius, the maximum 37 degrees Celsius, and the weather remains dry. According to expert Daniel Berlusconi of 3B Meteo, high pressure dominates the region, generating record temperatures and an almost total lack of clouds. Con of the day, Monaco. Today the sun shines high, the wind is calm, and the sky is almost cloud-free. It's an ideal day for a walk on the pier. Zhao. The true climate is not only what is seen, but also what is felt inside the heart of the observer. And that's today's weather. Sign off. Online, on X and Mastodon, on all smart speakers, and on medium wave. This is Francia Aghi with Central Milano 1575 kHz. This is all for now. From the Paris newsroom, I'm Rachel Costa. This is Radio Nisa, Central Milano 1575 kHz.